Okay, I am live. I am live. Whew, what a long day. We had a 5.5 hour stream earlier where I unboxed the Cintiq 16, which is sitting right in front of me. And I drew for about, I think, an hour and a half or something. Drew the thumbnail, actually, that I'm using for this stream. And I thought it was a little unfair that I was not able to give people a chance in other locations, such as Europe and Asia, to have time to talk and ask questions live. So I decided to just do another Q&A stream. And while I'm waiting for questions, I'll just work on my notes, maybe do a little additional testing here and then. But it was a fun stream. We covered a lot of questions. There's so many questions about comparing things. Hi, Late Connection. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, I'm having a lovely day. And good to see people showing up. Feel free, we can take the stream any direction people want. This is 11 p.m. my time, and don't feel bad for me, please. I'm someone who can stay up very late. I don't need much sleep, and yeah, we'll take any Q&A for the Cintiq 16. And I'll work on any content. I want to get a video out, honestly, about the Cintiq 16 and the Cintiq 24 this week, maybe next week. But I just got to get all the content ready. And what made this past stream earlier today fun, and that makes this stream a little bit. Hey, Mira, good to see you. Thanks for showing up. What made the last stream fun was I had several other displays with me. I had 3 other 16-inch pen displays and a 19-inch and something else. I had a 22-inch. Yeah, I was live. It wasn't even 6 hours ago. I think maybe less than that. But since I did the stream early in the day for me because the tablet just came. Oh, it was 4 a.m. then. Okay, what time is it for you now? So it should be 10 then, I'm guessing. Oh, thank you, Late Connection. Thanks for piping in. Sounds like you're going to be leaving shortly, but it is appreciated when I get comments like that. Honestly, very, very much appreciated. And let me just do a little bit of window movements around here. I'm going to try to put the comments closer to my eyes so I see the comments rather than looking over to the right. It's 1 p.m. Okay, great. And Mira, if you don't mind, can you tell me where are you again? I can't remember. We have such an international audience. Sometimes I forget where people are actually, where they're calling in from. Okay. So I mentioned, you may have caught me when I was talking about what we did the last stream, but one of the fun projects I decided to do was actually draw with a tablet, the thumbnail. And so I don't know if you saw it here, but let me show you let me find it here. Where is it? The thumbnail. Here we go. Look at this. I drew this picture in the middle here, live in the last stream. I'm not saying it's this artistic picture, but it gave me a chance to use it for, I think, about 2 hours. Let's see, Mir says, okay, so I use Indonesian time for my friends, and I am from Bangladesh. Okay, got it, I understand. Thank you for clarifying that. So this is fun. I always and maybe I thought I will start using my unboxing and testing videos as I'll actually test the tablet by drawing and draw the thumbnail for the stream, right? It'll give me more opportunities to do something creative. It'll be time that, I can answer questions and I can try things out, right? So this is going to be the title, at least for the stream. I might do another version of it for the, the actual final review, if you want to call it that. So, well, I hope your day's been going well, Mir. It doesn't look enough like tablets, maybe? Is that what you're saying, Mir? But yeah, I see what you mean about it looking like team scores. It does kind of look like that. I was hoping by giving some shininess to, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Unless you know I'm talking about tablets, it may not look like a tablet, right? Sorry, I can't say it, having a VL, VI. Um, okay, so while I am waiting for anyone, I told the Discord chat I'm online live now. Like I said, I don't anticipate a major audience. Uh, I just want to make sure I give chance for people who otherwise wouldn't have. Oh, I see. That was a typo. Got it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the Discord over here. And give me a second. Let me get my. I also hooked up the Tourbox Live. That took a little bit of effort. I love the Tourbox though. What I'm going to do is just clean up a few windows. Where's my music? Where is my music? I'm going to start in the middle of my music. There we go. Oh yeah, that's right. The new PC build. Oh wow, I didn't realize you started at 4 gigs. That's excellent. 32 is quite the jump. I remember, since you bring up 32, I remember when I joined Microsoft, um, they gave me a new computer, right? And the administrative assistant said, how much RAM do you need? I had never had a computer with like more than, I don't know, 8 megabytes of RAM. Okay. And I thought, well, or 4 or something like that. Megabytes, not gigabytes. And I said, well, I was pushing my luck. I thought, okay, let me ask for 32 megabytes of RAM. And she said, yeah, okay, sure. Like it was no big deal. But that felt really nice because back then, 32 gigabytes megabytes was a huge amount. I felt so happy to have that. And now I think I wrote one of my documents. I wrote in one of my documents that if you want like a laptop or a PC, 8 is not enough. 16's okay. 32 is where you want to be, and that's just for 2D art. Okay, what did I want to do? I wanted to get my OneNote. I'm going to experiment with something. I'm going to try to tone down the lights a little bit to keep this a late night stream. Let's see if we can do it. It'll be chill. It'll be cool. Let's see. I'm going to turn this down a little bit so it's a little darker. And then I'm going to go to the light behind me. And actually, I don't know if it's on. I don't know if I can turn it on. Yeah, I think it's actually just off. Let's try the other one. Okay, here we go. Oh, that doesn't look like a late night calm thing. It looks a little too intense. I'll do the classic streamer blue light. And not just single channel RAM. I assume that's good. I'm not really familiar with RAM tech, to be quite honest. Let's see. Let's get some. I'm going to go a little darker. Okay, it's a little calmer, a little darker. No, you don't have to watch the previous stream to be here. No worries. I'm just taking questions. I'm making my notes, so you might see something or hear me. I'll try to talk out what I'm doing in case you have questions. But don't worry, right? Yeah, I did. I did. I changed the intro sound. And I'll settle. I haven't found what I like. I'll tell you. Well, since we're just talking, we're just chatting. The intro sound I had for a long time was very energetic, and when I'm talking, the background music is very. I don't know what the right phrase is. Chill hop. But so many videos use that kind of sound that I decided to pick some new music. So I'm experimenting with some of the music here is very jazzy. Some of it's like retro shopping music. There's still some of the chill hop stuff, but I wanted just to change the pace, different vibe. But yeah, the intro sound I'm changing around. Hey, Cordy. Okay, let's see. Cordy's got an interesting request for me. Take the smartphone, open the camera app, go into Pro mode, increase shutter speed to max, then point the camera to the Cintiq and adjust the display brightness from 0. Sure, up to 100%, and check if there's any strobing. So I'm looking for the strobing in the record, like what my camera shows. Sure, happy to do that. Okay, sure. Let's see. Happy to do these kind of requests. Mirror really is good, and I talked about it at length, and I'll talk about it more here. Let's see, camera, video, and QWERTY. What am I looking for? I'm looking for like a PWM flicker. Is that what it's called? Hang on a second. I gotta get to Pro video mode. More Pro video mode. Or do you want Pro video or just Pro? I've got 2 Pro modes, but I'm gonna do. I think you just want me to see what the live preview is like. So I'm going to Pro mode, just as you asked. Oh yeah, because I don't have those settings in video mode. Okay. What was it? Increase the shutter speed to max. Shutter speed. Okay, I see shutter speed. Max means 1 over 12,000. Okay, 1 over 12,000 seconds. Okay, and you didn't mention anything about the ISO, but it's set pretty high at 3200. Okay, and then I gotta. Okay, this monitor, sorry, the Cintiq 16. It's set at 100% brightness. I think you said you wanted me to go to from 0 to 100. Okay, hey, no problem. Okay, I'll tell you. Oh shit, I gotta use the pen. Okay. So at 0, my eyes can see the screen very dimly. The camera can it's almost completely black. I'm at about 10%. It just looks very dark. About 20, 30, 40, about 50. And I'm gonna put my eyes next to it just to make sure I don't see anything weird. Let me go back to that same range again. I didn't see any flicker. There was a flicker as I switched brightnesses, like just when I went to the next step, but there isn't flicker when I'm at a brightness. Yeah. It looks very steady, as a matter of fact. I'll do it again. So when I said it changed steps, there was a slight change in. I think it's just capturing the change in brightness, the step. It's not like flicker. But yeah, I don't see anything flickering or strobing or anything like that. Oops, I went to non-pro mode. Yeah, I didn't see anything. Who asked? Cordy. If you start with a tablet, you'll know what to look for. Should strobe clearly. Is there an example of something that should flicker? Like, because people tell me that OLED displays have flickered. I have an OLED display here actually, so I can try the same thing there. Yeah, that. What is my shutter speed? My shutter speed was. It was 1/12,000, just like you have. Yeah, that was what it was. Let me try something that has or is supposed to have a little bit of shutter issues. Let me get this tour box out of the way. I've got a moving here, and I know it's supposed to have some flickering. My eyes are not sensitive to flickering, but I'll try this test here because I'm all Samsung devices. Okay. Give me a second. I'm gonna get a Samsung. None of my Samsung devices are charged right now. So let me try the moving, and then I'll see if I can find something that I might be able to do it with. Okay. This is the moving 13. I might have an S8 Ultra. That's an OLED display. Okay. Let me plug it into the right port. I'll try the same exact thing. You can see what I'm doing if you want. It's very dark. Let's see. Yep. 1/1200, and let's get the brightness. I can use my hand for this one. Am I crazy? Oh, I wasn't seeing anything because my finger was blocking the way. What the hell? Oh, wow. Let me tell you what I see on the moving. I expected like flashing. I do see something. What I see is black bars, fuzzy black bars, and if I hold the camera still, they're moving up the screen. They're moving up at 100% brightness, at 50. Okay, as I get to lower brightness, the black bars get thicker and thicker and thicker. And at the very end at 0 brightness, which I can still see something on the screen, the black bars are thicker than the non-black areas. If that makes sense. Yeah, that's exactly what I query. What exactly you mentioned is what I saw with the moving 13. So now I know what to look for. I didn't see anything like that with the Cintiq 16. Didn't see anything like that. Wacom moving 13. Yeah, I definitely saw what you're describing. Thanks for explaining to me because I've never tried that test before. Cordy, is that something I should be testing all tablets for from now on? And if that's a yes, what do you call this test? The black is essentially the screen going off, and that is flicker, causes issues for some people. Yeah, so what's the name for this test? I'll start putting it in my reviews and things. I'm more than happy to add things like that. Okay, what is this? What am I looking at here? Okay. Where was my OneNote? I want to get to the OneNote. And I'll go over. You know, it's close. It's 40 minutes to midnight, but it's still kind of warm in my house for some reason. PWM. Okay, henceforth I will add it. And so I'll add two things. In the review, I'll add PWM flicker test. And then whenever I test anything, I have a separate document that says, here is my testing procedure. So I'll add that as well, and I'll follow your instructions as you wrote them in the chat and say. So let me just do that. Let me project so you see what it is I'm doing. Right? And let me get my keyboard here. By the way, I really like this tablet. I want to make sure everyone knows that. I was extremely happy with it. Satyaki says, is the Cintiq 24 ergonomically better than the Cintiq 16? I just did that as voice. I just did that to try to give a more chill mood for the stream. So I tried to do this. This blue looks a bit weird. Let me try something maybe a little more red. As for the ergonomic question, I didn't find that. I mean, some people will say it's better ergonomics. Just depends on your preference. I wouldn't say there's something unique to either one of them, which says, oh, this is better for ergonomics than the other one. Let's see. I'm trying to give a red look. Yeah, more of a chill. Not so intense. More like that. Okay. There we go. Let me take a look at this myself. That doesn't look half bad, actually. I'm digging this. I wonder what it looks like if I actually turn up the light. Like my main light here. Yeah, it's just so harsh. It's so bright in my eyes right now, and it's so late at night. That's why I decided to turn it down. I will work on some late night lighting. Right, I kind of like the idea of having a different lighting setup when it's late night. Okay, let's get back here. And so this is session 2, I'll call it session 2, live stream. Mir is asking, why is the topic header at the end is alternative weight? What? Okay, let me write this down, and we'll get back to that. Okay. Session 2 live stream. So number 1 is this is a to-do, right? For me, which is like create PWM flicker test methodology page, which is set camera phone pro mode shutter speed to minimum, so like 1/seconds, and then tablet turn brightness to 0%, and then increase steadily to 100%, and then see camera preview and check for black bars. Okay, so that I think that is the PWM flicker test. Minimum. Okay, give me a second. Thank you. I see that now. I will figure that out. And let me take my notes. Say PW. Now the results. PWM flicker test. Tried. So noticed no flicker. Noticed no flicker. PWM flicker at any brightness. And then in comparison. I like to do in comparisons. Flicker, very obvious. In same test. For moving 13. How's that? Okay. Okay, now I got to use my memory to figure out what the heck I was talking about in this one. Oh, now I know. Okay, so the context is this, what we were talking about here. Okay, it actually begins here. Okay, so ignore the color. I'll explain everything. Okay, so this is the context. I was like, how do we compare this tablet to all the other ones? Okay, so I wrote down the prices and in some cases the resolution. So let me just put that down. So it's a bit easier to read. Oops. This thing should be in the right. It's out of my way. Again, ignore the colors. I just wanted to put this information. Okay, and I had the prices there. And Satyaki says, how's the pixelation on the 24? The 16 should be really good. Yeah, it's a fantastic question. Give me a minute. Let me address Mir. And we have Mr. H. What is the response time in both? We'll look it up. So just give me a minute. Give me a minute. Let's deal with Mir's questions first. So your question is, what did it mean when it said alternative weight? So going through these things, and I put green by saying, which ones of these would I recommend? And so the first thing you need to realize is, I have a list of recommendations. Okay, let me just show you the list of recommendations. Where's recommendations? Okay. And just because people may not have this link, I'm going to paste it in the chat. Okay. And so I'll go to pen displays, and I have recommendations at different sizes. Okay. Oops. The programs there, sorry, different sizes, right? Small, medium, and large. Now this is 16, so I'm going to look up medium. Okay. So what I said was, here are my top picks before tonight's event. My top recommendation is really these two, the Huion Canvas 16 and the Artist Pro XP Pen Artist Pro 16 Gen 2. Wacom Cintiq Pro is too expensive. I mean, it's a great tablet. I wouldn't recommend it. Then there's the Wacom Cintiq Pro, the 2021 edition, $1,500. Great tablet. Right, but now we have this tablet, okay? I would put this new tablet at the top of this list, okay? That's where I would put, in fact, I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna do it right now. Because I don't want people to be confused about my recommendation. The Pen 16 is $879, not $70. Okay, interesting, thank you, thank you. Is that a discount? Oh, sorry. Is $780 the discounted price, like a sale price or something? Let's go and say pen. Where's pen display? There we go. Medium. So I'm just putting this in now because I want people to really know what I'm trying to say. I will say that let me click edit here. Wacom Cintiq 16, 2025, right? Which is $700, right? And I feel like this thing deserves 3 stars. 3 stars means it's a top recommendation. Like, I'll add my links later and my notes. I'm going to get my notes later. I'll just put this as blank. I won't put them in right now. So I just want you to know, right now this one's at the top, right? It's my number one 16-inch recommendation, okay? No doubt about it. Okay, now that you know that, I said, what's the next one? If I had to pick the next one, I would say this is the next green, which is the Canvas 16 Gen 3. Okay? And there were some others I just talked about. Basically, these two and the Artist Pro 16 Gen 2 is good. Artist Pro 16 Gen 2. It's also good. Now this one has this kind of resolution, I believe. These are that's what this is, okay? Okay, now then I said, since I have a lot of Huions, we got a lot of questions. Mr. H, please just give me a minute. We're going to get there. Trust me. We're not going to lose anyone's questions. So then the question was, see, this tablet is not considered a pro tablet. So this means, how is the non-pro Cintiqs, these new ones, the 2025 ones, right? How do they compare to the top of the line Huion Pro models? Right, that's what this section is. There is some line wobble there. There is, right? Maybe it's my third choice, but I still like it, honestly. And the line wobble may not affect everybody. Okay? So what I said was all Cintiq, all Wacom Cintiqs and Cintiq Pros have excellent drawing performance, like the pressure, tilt compensation. In terms of drawing, they're still the best, even if they're non-pro, right? They're just as good as the pro models, right? And I said this excellent drawing experience of the Cintiq. Thank you, Spoisai. I'm going to just write that down. It is important to keep the model numbers straight. 168. Thank you. Oops, I put it in the wrong place. Let me copy that out. Okay, and let me add it here because I think it's important to use the model number. And let me, okay, so getting back to here, I said, so if the Cintiq and Cintiq Pros are the best, how do they compare, what's the closest thing we have in Huion? Right? Like, how do they compare to Huion's top of the line, right? So I would say the best Huions, and there's a question, which ones do I mean by the best? Okay, so we'll define that in a second. But the best Huions, the Cintiq and Cintiq Pros are still a little better, but you'd really have to be someone who studies these things to notice the difference, okay? And these issues are very dependent on the specific models involved, okay? A normal human being, even one who's an artist, would really have trouble telling the difference. Like, you'd have to like start measuring things. And what I said in the live stream was, some of these differences are real, and I know them because people talk to me about how the implementation. But you know, the joke I said was, in order to measure it, you'd have to like have an electron microscope or something. That's a joke. That's a joke. But at the best Huions are that close to the Cintiq. Okay, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Now the question is, which are the real best Huions? Which are the high-end ones, the real best ones, right? I.e., the real best ones. So lots of you cannot use the word pro to understand if a Huion is good or not. Okay. Likewise, you can't use the word pro to determine if a Cintiq is good or not. If ignoring the old Cintiqs, the current 2022, 2023, 2025 Cintiqs, pro doesn't mean better in terms of drawing. It means it has features for people who work in design studios, things like that. For Huion, pro has a sort of different interpretation. But you can't rely on it to mean the best. Instead, you have to pay attention to some other things. The most easy thing to determine whether a Huion is the top of the line is whether it comes with and is compatible with a PW600 pen. This is called, i.e., the tablet uses Cintiq. So this is a long explanation. Cintiq 4.0, okay? Yeah, Mir, you're right. People start seeing these names, Pro, Max, Ultra, and it's very confusing. So it's hard even for me to explain, right? So the PW600 pen is good. That tells you it's a Cintiq 4.0 tablet. And then there are tablets Huion has that's older pens. And those are older generations. A great example is PW517. That's a pen from an older generation. That's the Cintiq 3.x. And those tablets aren't as good. If you have them, you can get a better experience by getting the PW550 pen, but it won't improve it to that next level, okay? Now, if you want a good Huion that's comparable to Cintiq, get one with the PW600 pen. Now, now we're finally at the last line. Alternative, which is, let me write it out. Wait for Huion to release more models with PW600 pens, right? So an example, lots of people today are getting the Huion Canvas Pro 24. Decent tablet, but it's from the old generation. I think you should suggest waiting until Huion ships a version with PW600 pens, okay? That's what this means, okay? So right now, the non-Pro Cintiqs, what I'm saying is they're as good as the Pro tablets from other manufacturers. Does that make sense? There's a few spec issues here and there, like these other things from Huion Canvas Pro 19. Great example. It's a 4K display, but these Cintiqs are only like not what is it? They're 2,560 by 1440, whatever that word is, WQHD, right? Okay, I need to take some water. Okay, now let me answer other people's questions. Okay, I asked about the discount question for the Sense Labs, and J8 says, $879 is the discount price. It's normally, wow, okay, $1,000. Okay, so let's write that down now. Sense Labs is basically 1,000 discounted to, what was it, 880, I'll say. Do you see now, if you compare this tablet, the one I just have right now, if you compare it to the Sense Labs, you're going to pay less for the Cintiq 16. You'll get low resolution, but you'll get a better tablet. Okay? And it's what? It's $180 less, even at the discounted price, right? So Sense Labs should probably do something here, okay? Sense Labs, this pen display is a 4K display and it's OLED, but I don't know, OLED screens don't make a better drawing experience, okay? They just make a better screen. So I think it's tough right now to justify getting the Sense Labs pen display. The Cintiq 16 that just released has kind of reset the game in 16 inches, okay? Okay, Mr. H says, what is the response time of the 16? Is the gap between pen and line noticeable? I only touched upon that in the previous stream, and I think I need to do a little bit of measurement. So if you just give me a second, I'm going to do a few tests. And the first thing is I'm going to test the MoveInk. The MoveInk has the best, there's least gap, what we call parallax, right? So that's the standard. It's actually about as much as the iPad. So it's the best we have so far in terms of drawing tablet. So give me a second. I'm going to go over here, I know it looks stupid, but I'm gonna have to do this. Okay. I'm just looking to see how much of a gap do I notice. Even with the moving, there is a gap, but it's not much. And if you're just drawing normally, like, look, I have to do this to see the gap. Okay. If I'm like here, I can't see the gap, and I'm like 45 degrees from it, right? If I'm up here, like when it's facing me, can't see a gap. I'd have to go like do something crazy like this. Even then, like the gap only appears, I'll tell you when the gap appears, like here. Like I'm at like 15, 20, I'm like 15 degrees away from the plane of the, so that's what this is. Okay, so that's considered very good. Now, let's take a look at the gap, Mr. H, here. I apologize, I'm gonna have to do the same test here. Can't see a gap here. It looks really good, actually. I have to get really at an angle. Let's just test some other places here. The gap is very minimal. In fact, to be quite honest, this is going to sound strange when I say it. It seems like, I honestly feel right now, this is about as good as the moving. In fact, it might even be better. That's how good it is. So I think this parallax is excellent. Okay, it is excellent. That's what I think. Okay, that was one of the Mr. H questions. Or no, that was the who had. Was that a Mr. H question? Yeah, there's two questions he has. What is the response time of the 16? I didn't check. Let's take a look. Wacom. I'm not sure if it's published. I don't think Wacom did publish it, but we'll try to find out. Let me check the main Wacom site. Sometimes they don't have the specs on the store. Product 16. This must be this here. I don't want to go to the store. Okay, sorry, you can't see what I'm seeing. Let's see the specs. I'm checking to see if they have these things here. I don't see anything yet. About response time. Here we go. 12 milliseconds right there. 12 milliseconds. Let me write that down. I'm going to put this spec here. Okay. Response time, 12 milliseconds. Okay. So someone asked, can you game on something like this? I said, I think gamers want smaller response times, so I wouldn't recommend it for that purpose. Okay, and then let's see. Mir says Canvas Pro 19 is $800 in my country right now. It's a no-brainer purchase, but I have a low budget already purchased the GS13. Yeah, that's a great price for the Canvas Pro 19 if it's $800, right? I think the Canvas Pro 19. I'm going to put it here in my list here because it's close enough. It's worthy of thinking about it. Pro 19. Let me find out what the price is here. I like to find the discounted. It's at 1,100 to 940. Okay, let's 1,100 discounted to 940 right now. And this is the resolution is 4K. I love the Canvas Pro 19. Don't get me wrong, right? It is in my list for the 19-inch as one of the top ones, right? Ignore the ordering, that's where the stars are, okay? So I prefer it over the XP Pen Artist Pro 19. But I think this is, people are gonna look at the prices and they're gonna say, should I spend 1,100 on the Canvas Pro 19 or, you know, $700 on the Cintiq? And I think a lot of people are gonna pick the Cintiq, honestly. Okay. Okay, JH, the Sense Labs value is the OLED display, which is much easier in the eyes. Yeah, I think some people really prefer the OLED display. To me, I'm not so. I mean, I could go either way. I don't really care. I wouldn't say the pen has much worse performance, but like, I noticed two things about it. Number one, the pressure range isn't as high. It's not bad. It's like, in my testing, I found it to be around 400 gram force. The Sense Lab said it should be around 500 gram force. And it could have just been, who knows, the time of day I did the test. I need to do some more testing. The second thing is, I do see a bit more diagonal wobble in slow strokes there with the Pen Display 16, the Sense Labs Pen Display 16. But if you're gonna add a little bit of smoothing, it'll go away. And not everyone draws that slow. So, you know, it depends. Lots of tablets have diagonal wobble, but lots of people just never notice, right? It's one of those problems where you see it when you go looking for the problem. And that's why my test will reveal it, even though a normal person, even myself, in normal usage might not notice, okay? But I would like Sense Labs to catch up, okay? Let's not. I would like them to catch up. Spoicy, yeah, only the Moving Cat had OLED, and then the Sense Labs Pen Display 16 had OLED. So right now, we've only got two, you know, non-standalone drawing tablets that have OLED. JH, they do for me personally, but I couldn't justify it due to pen performance. Yeah, this came up in the stream, JH, and what did I say? Well, first I said, I'm thirsty. So, I like this tablet a lot, and I'm gonna use it to, you know, when I'm doing live streams, sometimes I need to do whiteboarding, and I need something in front of me, but that's not too big. Do I miss touch? Yeah, a little bit, but this thing weighs 1.6 kilograms. Not super heavy, but you know, once I started using the Moving and you realize how light something can be, I'm like, yeah, I totally want a 16-inch Moving in front of me. Heck, maybe a 19-inch Moving, okay? And I think I'd pay more for it than this tablet. I would love something that's so convenient to use as a screen in front of me. I'm sure there's some engineering challenges. You know, while we're talking about this kind of weight here, I just want to show you something, which is, it's one of the first things I actually did in the stream. I weighed a couple of these things. So the Wacom Cintiq 16, 2025, weighs 1.5 kilograms. The Sense Labs is not, it's less heavy, but it's not that less heavy. The Sense Lab is 1.3 kilograms. The Huion is just a little bit less. And I don't have the scale with me right now, but the Moving 13 is pretty. Actually, what is the weight of the Moving 13? Let me take a quick look. Wacom Moving 13. I'm really curious. the store. The store never gives me anything. I want this, yeah. 420 grams, okay? Let's put this, moving is, so 0.42 kilograms. If I had a moving 16 that weighed 800 kilograms, or 800 kilograms, 0.8 kilograms, that would be perfect, I think, for me, right? And it could be that thin. I don't know why the Sense Labs Pen Display 16 is that heavy. It's a little confusing to me. Okay. Yeah, but I want a larger OLED. I'm with you. I'm using a Pro 24, but I got off, use off UF3. That's a good deal. If it's working and it's $340, excellent deal. Koyo, good to see you. Canvas Pro 16 4K. Okay. Good question. Let me write down. What about the Canvas Pro 16 4K? My answer to this is no. Let me tell you why. The Canvas Pro 16 4K, which I have, by the way, the anti-glare treatment on it is different from the anti-glare treatment that you have seen on other tablets. For whatever reason, it causes a lot of anti-glare sparkle. In fact, the Canvas Pro 16 4K has the most anti-glare sparkle I have ever seen on any of the like 50 or 40 pen displays I've ever had. I noticed it so quickly when I unboxed it, and it's overwhelming. Now, over time, I got a little less upset about it, but that's why I don't recommend it. In other ways, it worked fine, right? But I don't recommend it. Now, since you did bring it up, though, and of course, it's a Pentec 3.0, let me find the price, because people will be asking. And there's several models of it. There's the 4K version, which is what I have, and that's what you suggested. Yeah. Okay, so the 4K, I actually have the 4K Plus, which is $900, discount is $700. The 4K, the normal 4K is $630 to $600. $600 is $100 less than this Cintiq. I would not recommend this. You're getting a much better deal with the Cintiq 16, right? Much better. So this is what, $630. $630. So for the non-plus edition is $630. Let me double check that again. Yeah, $630. And the plus edition is $900. Plus edition, $900. There's no way I would recommend this. Now, if you get it, like, I don't know, used and much cheaper, maybe. But then I'd say get the PW550 pen. Okay. JH, talking about the burn-in. I think is lots of people leave their tablets, their monitors on all the time. I do. And so I'm very nervous about OLEDs being used. Don't get me wrong, I believe you. I believe you're correct. But I'm just a little nervous. Let's see, JH, like the scenarios that cause burn-in are bordering on either being put in a side cord or just not existing. Yeah, Spoicy, yeah, that's, you and I are saying the same thing. Yeah, Koyo, yeah, the PW550 pen upgrades the pressure behavior. And that's good. I recommend if you have a Huion tablet that uses PW517, get the PW550, and you and I have talked about this many times. But it's not going to help with the screen issues, right? That's just unrecoverable. Nick, I'm not still streaming. I took a break for a couple of hours, and I decided to start streaming again to catch the European crowd and the Asian crowd. Have I ever seen info on who is making display panels for Pro Wacoms I know MoveInk's OLED is from Samsung, but I never heard about Cintiq Pro. I don't know. I don't know. I'd love to find out. I assumed it was Samsung also, but I do not know. Okay, JH says it is Samsung Pentile OLED. Oh, the MoveInk, yeah. Same panel. What about the Cintiqs, JH? Do we know who's making the display panels for the Cintiqs? Because you're talking about the OLED. Okay, you're talking about the response time. Okay, Amir, hey, thanks for dropping by. Let's see. Yes, everyone join the Discord. If you want to talk about drawing tablets, join the Discord. I'll put the Discord link here. 1 second. Okay, you should see the Discord link. Let's see. Nitish says, if I have the money and I'm looking for the best drawing experience, what would you recommend? Huion Canvas Pro 19 or the new Cintiq 24? Either's good. Either's good. I have, let me show you the list, okay? And I'm going to remove all the color and then I'll just highlight, Nitish, which ones I would recommend, okay? So I would definitely recommend the Cintiq 16. It's good. I have no problems recommending it. Huion Canvas Pro 19, I would recommend that too. Right, that's also fine to get. And then Cintiq 24, 2025. Yeah, there's two models, touch and non-touch models. So both of these are good, right? A lot of this list is good. I'm trying to focus on something close to your area. I think you'll be most happy with these three if you had to pick, right? That's where we're at right now. I should say 24. There is a big size difference between the 16 and 24, so be prepared for it on your desk. JH, what weight were you guessing for 780 grams? Canvas 16 Gen 3 is cheaper than the Canvas Pro 16 4K. Yeah. I wish it was a little cheaper, to be honest, but it is definitely cheaper. Yeah, you're right. It's better to have it in the list, even if it's not recommended. And so what I'll do is when I do my write-up in the video, I'll talk about all of this again, right? Just so everyone knows, you're watching me on a YouTube channel. I just want to make sure you know. Let me find my channel here. And I'm going to redo the videos sometime soon, but I want to make sure you see, if you look at my videos, if you look about 7 months ago, November, I covered 22-inch pen displays, 16-inch pen displays, and 13-inch pen displays. So obviously, the situation has changed, but if you watch these, I talk through a lot of the models you're all talking about, okay? Now again, I'm gonna update these later in the year. I'm not updating them right now because I think more tablets are coming, and I think it'll be easier to update these closer to the holiday season, okay? Honestly, I'm waiting for Huion to release more Pentec 4.0 tablets. JH says, I think either a Japanese company's name I don't remember, or it was LG making the IPS screens. Okay, not Samsung. Yeah, I forgot LG makes a lot of screens. Let's see. Okay, you listed it out. EMS, located in China, Taiwan, and Southeast Asia. Hey, Snowlayer. Lire? Snowlayer? I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm going to say Snowlayer. But thanks for joining us on the stream. let's see, Nick says LG Dell is quite possible when it comes to Pro IPS panels. They're the biggest. And then Koyo. The future Huion Canvas Pro 16 Gen will be insane. Yeah, it will be. It'll be something else. Okay, it will be something else, and I think people are gonna really like it. I'm just guessing because like the 16's good, and if this thing has that better screen, I think we're, and it can make sure it has no diagonal wobble. We're great. We're gonna do great. Yeah. Wait, you weren't that far off for the 780 grams, were you? Oh, I get it. Sorry, I had the wrong thing. Yeah, 420 grams. Yeah, it's quite a difference. Just so you know, I compared my stats for Wacom tablets. The Moving 13 is actually weighs less than every Wacom tablet ever made, except for like, one of these really the small consumer pen tablets. It definitely weighs less than any Wacom device with a screen, by far, right? But it weighs less than almost every pen tablet as well. Is 122 points per inch enough for 24-inch pen display? What resolution does that correspond to? Actually, I can tell you. I think at 24 inches, you have to have 2560 by 1440, okay, or above. Preferably 4K, okay. But if I think 2560 by 1440 is fine for 24-inch. You'll notice just a little bit of pixelation, but at 24-inch you start wanting to get 4K, I would say. At 19 inches and 16 inches, getting 2560 by 1440 is fine. Like when I'm using this tablet, when I put this tablet to my face. This is 16 inches, but I think you could show this to a lot of people, and they would not be able to tell the difference between this and 4K, right? Like they would if you have a 4K right next to it, and they're doing this, right? But just looking at it, you probably wouldn't guess it wasn't 4K. At least that's what I think, right? Okay. Let me just show you my notes. I'll tell you what else we talked about here. The pixelation of the Cintiq 24. You'll notice it a little bit. If you are concerned about pixelation, you'll notice it a little bit. And I say that because I notice it in a ton of displays that I have. I have another one with the same resolution, 24. It's not bad, but again, I'm not super sensitive to it. So I can work fine with that pixelation, but it sounds like you are sensitive to it. So you may really want a 4K display at 24 inches. Okay, one of the things we talked about in the first stream was, can you use a single USB-C cable with this tablet? And actually you can. In fact, notice how many cables are in this tablet right now. Right, just one. And I'm running it at 100% brightness. Okay? So I tried it with my Mac Studio, I tried it with my MacBook Pro, and they both worked. And importantly, I could get to 100% brightness in both cases. Okay? So if working with a single USB-C cable is important for you, this can work. This can work fine that way. Right? It does not require you to have the power adapter in. Though I'm sure in some cases, your computer may not send enough power, and so you're going to need it. Okay. We talked about weight. The color was fine. I'm not a color expert. What did Wacom list for this thing? Let me make sure I'm looking at the right. This was the Move Ink. I don't want that. Yeah, 16-inch at 2.5K should be good enough for most people. I think everyone will be very happy with it, honestly. And I'm used to using 16 inches at 4K, right? Where is this? Specs. Let's get the color gamut. I'll just paste that in here. Looks good. I mean, I'm not a color expert. I can just say that it looked fine for me, right? But if you want like really wide color gamuts, this is not the monitor for you. Anti-glare sparkle, very low, very low. So I found it similar to or the same as the Cintiq Pro 22, Canvas Pro 19, Cintiq 24, latest edition. So I was super happy. The pixels were sharp. Some people know that the Canvas Pro 19 has a slight softness of the pixels. This does not have that, okay? So this, I was very happy with this. And like I said, resolution, I have a hard time telling this apart from a 4K display. Very hard. Let's see, Nitish says, great question. Do I say that the drawing experience between the 2025 Cintiqs and the Cintiq Pros are the same? Yes. There's no difference. The difference you might see is with the screens, like the screens might be a bit brighter with the Cintiq Pros or they have a higher refresh rate, but the drawing experience is exactly the same. And we should expect that because the pen, it uses the same pens, right? And Wacom, you know, there's plenty of things we can say we don't like Wacom doing, but they have not sabotaged the behavior of the pen with the non-pros. It works just as well, right? And that's why I think people will buy this tablet, because you're getting the pro drawing experience, at least in terms of pressure and tilt and all that stuff, and line accuracy, and you're not sacrificing anything from a Cintiq Pro. So it's an easy call for me. And by the way, Wacom's been like that for a long time. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. Tilt compensation. Everyone knows what tilt compensation is, right? That means if you have the pen, you know, the pointer's underneath the pen, right? If you tilt it like this and like this, does the pointer move? I tried it in the middle. I tried it in the middle of the sides. I tried it in the corners. It was excellent. It was excellent. Okay. Diagonal wobble was very low. It was very typical of what I saw on, let's say, a Cintiq Pro 22. I'll double check with this, but yeah, it was very good. Accuracy, accuracy. So this is like with the pen vertical, is it accurate? It's very accurate, yeah. Pen tracking accuracy, it's excellent. I would say it's actually, tilt compensation is excellent. So low, slight wobble, seen in slow strokes, very slow strokes actually. Would I say that the new Cintiqs are the recommended tablets for the majority of people? Yeah, absolutely. I have no problem saying that. If someone, you know, if I ran into someone on the street and they said, "Hey, I gotta buy a tablet right now, and I need it to be excellent," I'd say just get this. and they'd say, "Why not I get a Cintiq Pro?" And I'm like, do you really? It doesn't. It's not going to help you draw any better. It's only you should get a Cintiq. Okay, let me back up. It goes back to what does pro mean for Wacom? Okay. Often we get a sense we somehow we get a sense that pro means better, like the pro model is better than non-pro. Okay, and that might be true in some cases, right? But when you compare these Cintiqs, the 2025 models, with the current line of Cintiq Pros, pro doesn't mean better for drawing experience. Pro means people who are professionals, let's say in a design studio or in some industry like the movie industry, where they need to collaborate and they have certain high requirements for their media, they need 120 hertz refresh rate. They need all this DCI-P3 business and Rec 709, okay? Normal people, by this definition, are not pros. I am not a pro by this definition, right? I don't need Cintiq Pros. So I have no hesitation saying people should just get this. Now, if you work in a studio with someone next to you and you want to be assured that, you're all working on this media for, the next Avengers movie, yeah, go get the Cintiq Pro. Okay? Let's see, Satyaki says, I was ready to buy the 16, but since I use 3D programs, okay, you raised something. Everybody I've ever talked to who buys a pen display, they seem to want larger displays. They seem like that. They say that helps them. So I think that makes sense. Okay. But I think 2560 by 1440 will be okay. But if you're sensitive to it, get a 4K. Thank Apple for the Pro branding. Products not really Pro. Yeah, they started it. Hey, just wait till we get Cintiq Pro Max Ultra. Right? Then it's going to get confusing. Does the Cintiq 16 have force proportion settings? I'll check. Why don't we just check? Okay. Let's see. I'll open up the Wacom Center. Parker, I'm grinding, huh? Yeah. Hey, man, nice to see you. It's a little complicated to explain what's going on, but remember some of you saw my earlier stream, I said I had someone knocked on the door, who knocked on the door. Parker, I actually mentioned the entire conversation about switching from Orkin to my audience, by the way. That's so funny. Okay. Let's see. I don't think Parker believed me. So I went downstairs and we were just chatting, and the stream was running. So I told him, I said, I'm streaming, and I said, hey, look. And he actually just took his phone out and started looking. I go, look, I am live right now. Let's see. Force proportions. That's what we were setting. That's what we were talking about. Let's see if I get there. Hang on a second. Let me move the screen over. You shouldn't need it, but there's one case where you might need it. Okay. And while I'm looking at this, Koyo has a comment I'm going to leave up for a second. Let's see. Display toggle. What happens, since this thing is 16 by 10, what happens if I display toggle it? It does have it. Do you see? Nitish? Oh, was it Nitish? No, it was Satyaki. Force proportions is right here. And it makes sense that it has it because you can tell this tablet to, how can I say it? You can say, instead of moving the pointer on the tablet, move it on another screen. So it has to do force proportion. So it makes sense. So yeah, they have it. Now, they also have this inset area, which you can shrink the active area, which is interesting. I should make a video on this. I want to make a video on what is it called? Tricks with active area mapping, because you can do lots of things that people don't know about, like precision mode, which everyone forgot about. Okay, I left Koyo's comment up there. Let me take a look at it again. For 3D software, yeah. Everyone tells me when I look in Reddit threads, they're like, yeah, they want the bigger ones. They want 22 inches or 24 inches and 4K. So if you're doing 3D stuff, go there. And it's not me saying it. This is what I observe other people saying, right? Let's see. Ben Boykma's hobby channel. How was the Cintiq 16 so far? Excellent. It has become my new 16-inch or medium-sized pen display recommendation. That's how good it is. That's how happy I am with it. Okay? The only thing that would make this better is if it weighed a lot less and was OLED maybe. And I don't even care about the OLED. I just want to weigh a lot less, right? That's what would make this an interesting tablet for me. It would make it even better because I want to use this tab. Oh, sorry, and it had touch. I want to use this tablet, and I will use it as my standard whiteboard tablet, okay, while I'm streaming, because it's great for that. It's great for that. Okay. Boise says, I honestly would suggest a separate display for 3D software that's as big as possible if you can get it. 3D, I would honestly a separate display for 3D software. Let me make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying that are you saying that they shouldn't use a pen display for 3D? Or they shouldn't just use a pen display? They should get a large monitor and get a large pen display? I don't think normal would expect weight in OLED. It's pretty plain. I'm not sure what you're saying here, because I feel like there's a word missing in the sentence. I don't think normal people would expect weight in OLED. But yeah, you're right. You're right. A normal person probably wouldn't expect it. I have no problem like I just said, if I met someone in the street, I would recommend this tablet. I have no problem doing that whatsoever. None whatsoever. Okay, let me go back to my thing and let's see if there's any other topics that I wanted to. Surface texture. Oh yeah, this was interesting. So the question was, does the surface texture of this tablet feel different from the Cintiq Pros? And that's what I did find that. I did find that to be the case. So this surface texture is slightly more, very slightly more than, in my opinion, than the Canvas 13 Gen 3. But it has about the same as the Move Ink, okay? And some people feel like the Move Ink does not have enough surface texture, okay? It's very slightly more than the Sense Labs Pen Display 16, but it has, I should have written this down, Cintiq 16 has somewhat less, not just a little bit, you'll notice it has somewhat less than the Cintiq Pro 22. That's the one I tested. So there is a difference. But even though it has less, it doesn't feel slippery, okay? It doesn't have as much. Okay. So we covered this. We did PWM Flickr. Okay, so I think we covered all the topics we went over in the previous live stream. Keep the questions going. I'm just going to work on getting some content for the review. Just let me know, right? I'll just check the chat to see if there are any questions. It's not like I'm going to sleep all of a sudden. Okay, I have the Cintiq here. So what I'll do is, should I create one page or two? I think I'll create two different pages. I've got a page for the Cintiq 24, so I'll create a separate page with the Cintiq 16. I'll do one video to cover both, but I'll create two separate pages. Let's see. This is, where do I create these pages at? And for everyone, I use Gitbook for my documents. Let's see. It's under product links. Wacom, I'll click edit. And let me add under Wacom Cintiq Pro. Where's Cintiq Pro? Oh no, Cintiq, sorry. I'm gonna add a new page here. Oh, build quality, good question. Let's start with the first part. What about the material on the back and the build quality? Does the plastic that holds the cable feel strong enough to not break accidentally? So this feels very solid, very solid. It's plastic. So, you know, if you're expecting, and it's textured, right? But I think it feels very professional. It doesn't feel flimsy. It feels very solidly built. The legs, at first, the legs are thinner than I expected, honestly. And at first, when I popped these legs out, I thought, oh, this feels too flimsy. But when I popped them out, sorry, let me show you the legs. Okay, when I popped them out and I put it down, how can I say this? If you press straight down on it, let me do it with my hand so you see. If you press down like this, you'll get a little flex. But if you're just drawing, you won't feel anything. Okay. And I tried flex. I'm putting a lot of pressure. I'm trying to break the legs. Okay. I wouldn't go more than I'm doing right now, but they feel sturdy enough. But I wouldn't try to break them. They probably would break. And you asked about the plastic that holds the cable. This is actually a little bit of an irritation with this tablet, to be quite honest. So your specific question is, does the plastic that holds the cable feel strong? It does. It does. Like almost every USB-C port, it wiggles a little bit. Let me see if I can, not that. This wiggles a little bit, okay? This is true for like every USB-C port I've ever seen. The other thing that irritated me is, so this is designed to go really underneath this little piece of plastic here that helps protect the cable from moving, but it's actually kind of irritating because the cable that it comes with is a little stiff, so it can be a little tricky to get it in there, right? You see, this will protect it. And if you lay it flat without the legs, that the little rubber pieces provide, enough clearance that if it's laying flat like this, maybe I should turn on the lights actually because it's getting a little The camera is having a hard time focusing without more light, so give me a second. I'll create a little more light here. Okay. And let's see if I can get it to focus just by moving around or something. Hello. There we go. Look at all this oil here. Okay. So it'll lay flat. The cable is just thin enough so that it won't budge or anything. Okay. Let's see. Oh, another interesting comment from Koyo that the Cintiq does not feel portable, but I think people will use it on the go to do this thing. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I would not call this portable. It doesn't feel. It's not anti-portable, but it is, and you should protect it. You should protect it. Okay. Too many people have broken the glass on their tablets. But I think a lot of people will travel with it. I expect that because it's not super heavy. It's about 1.6 kilograms. Let's see. I think displays for 3D have some incompatibilities. Pen displays are often set low, while 3D wants regular height. I think if that's what you want, I don't know if you can see this in this video, but there are 4 VESA mounting holes right here. Sorry, I gotta rotate it to another camera. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. They're 75 millimeters by 75 millimeters. If you need it, you can mount it on an arm that supports this, or on a stand that uses VESA mounting. So I think that'll help in the case you're talking about. And that way you can set it at a height that's more convenient for you. That said, if you like a big pen tablet anyway, you can get one for use with 3.2. Okay. JH, thanks for stopping by. Have a great night. Yeah, the fingerprints, this, I mean, you know, I guess it does attract a little bit of fingerprint oil. But and the camera's not lying. It does really. That's exactly how it looks to my eyes. Okay, let me see if I can get this thing focused for a second. Okay, low. Let me try it one more time. There we go. It's very accurate what you see and what my eyes see. Very accurate. Okay. I'll keep on working on some content while if I see any more questions. Cintiq 168, right? DTK. Wacom Cintiq 16. 2025. DTK 168. I just don't like using drawing gloves, though, Ben Boykmus. I always forget about them, or they get in the way. Maybe I should, I wouldn't want all this greasy fingerprint stuff to show up on stream, so maybe I should start using maybe I should start, okay? So I'm going to take my notes, and I'm going to copy and paste them. Or I'm going to one by one, I'll move them over. First is connections and cabling. Let me write that down. Connections and cabling. That's one of my. Here, I'll show you what I'm typing so you're not. Using with a single USB-C cable. Or I should say connecting with, not using with. So, yes, this is supported but your computer will need to meet the requirements. Your computer will need a USB-C port that must meet the requirements for power, data, and video signal. Okay. And I'll just say the included USB-C cable will work for this purpose. The included cable is 5 gigabits per second and 60 watts. I also tested with a Cable Matters Thunderbolt 3 cable. Okay. Bright. This is actually cabling notes. What about brightness? So one of the things that happens with when you're doing a single USB-C cable is it'll work, but you can't get to the full 100% brightness. Matthias, thanks so much. Is the surface texture all the same for the new Cintiq 24 and 16? Give me a second. I'll go test it out right now. 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got it right here. So, Pro Pen 3. Okay, moving it around the 24. Interesting. Let me get the Pro Pen 2. And I'm trying to touch it in places and I'm trying to make sure I touch it where there's no grease. Because when there's grease, everything's kind of... Okay, it's the same. It's the same. I had to pause for a second because at first I thought they were different, but it was just because my hand grease is on the other one. Let me put this down. Let me put it down in front of me. And move it. Okay, there we go. Good question. And let me just write that down, actually. Surface texture. I had some surface texture notes, actually. Yeah. Here we go. Oh, good point, Koyo. I forget that the Apple doesn't include, it may not include the cable you need. So these are in comparison. Cintiq 16, same amount of surface texture as Cintiq 24. And let me put 2025 for all these. So I would say overall surface texture is pretty feels normal. Surface texture is very typical for 10 is very typical for a pen display. Pen does not feel slippery. The surface when drawing. Let's see, brightness when connected to a single USB-C cable. Was able to achieve 100 brightness with in my scenarios, right? And so this is like connection scenario 1. Which worked. Cable, so it was tablet to Cable Matters Thunderbolt 3 cable to CalDigit TS4 dock to a M1 Max Studio. Okay. So everything worked. Scenario 2 also worked, which was tablet, Cable Matters, TB3 cable directly to the M3 MacBook Pro. Yeah. I don't know why I listed it this way. This just worked. I didn't. Yep. So M3 MacBook Pro was not attached to power and was able to power the tablet. I didn't see how long it would take to use the battery though. Right? Oh, you're welcome, Matthias. Thanks for the suggestion. Let's see. There are a few notes here, right? When using a single USB-C connection, for some strange reason, if you attach a power cable, so the tablet is on, it's working, but if you attach a power cable, it will turn itself off and back on. The tablet will turn itself off and then back on. That's a little weird. You would expect it to just stay on because it already has enough power. You're giving it more. Why did it turn off? Also, yeah, as I mentioned, that little thing in the back, it's a little tricky to put in the cable sometimes. Some people suggested using an L-type adapter, a USB-C L-type adapter. I didn't use one. Let me hit save on this so I don't lose these changes. And let me mention there are two cables, included cables. Let me make sure people know that. Included cables. I'll just call cable number 1, which is supports power, data, and video. And then USB-C cable number 2 is power only. Power only. While we're at it, I wonder if there's a document. Is there a document here? Getting started guide. Do they even make manuals for these things anymore? Yeah. So this is the 2 ways to connect. Let's see. How do you take a screenshot on a Mac? I think I got it. Well, let me do it later because I prefer to use screenshots on Windows. I don't like the way Mac does it. Am I too close? Okay. Let me move it a little further back. I'm glad you mentioned it. I'm not embarrassed. Thank you for mentioning it. Sorry, I am terribly embarrassed if people can hear the mouth sounds, the disgusting mouth sounds. So, thank you. I'm gonna. If anyone ever hears any weird mouth sounds, tell me. I'll move back from the microphone. Thank you, Excel. And let me know if this fixed it. Sometimes what happens is also I'm moving around a lot, so this ends up, and I'm moving the microphone, and it ends up that I'm, right up on it, but I didn't mean to be. Okay, but yeah, here are the 2 diagrams. Single cable supported, and then 2 cables. I will update that later. Where is my... Okay. So I'll just put that connection options. I'll put a TBD here. TBD connect, add screenshots from Wacom doc. Let's get to my next note. Oh yeah, display specs. Let me get this section copied over. Alt X. I got the weight of these things as well. Didn't mean to do that. I just wanted the display parts. Display. Color gamuts. So these are, I think, core display specs. And then I'll share my comments on it separately. I will say this is like stated Wacom specified. Because I don't measure this. I have a color measuring thing, but I've not used it yet. Satisfied. I was satisfied with the color. Not washed out like earlier Cintiq, like previous Cintiq models. Anti-glare sparkle. Everyone knows I hate this. Anti-glare. So my rating was very low, which is good. Comparison, which is similar to I like to list them out this way, just so people know I'm actually checking each one. Though I need to find a more compact way of specifying it. Pixels, I want to say pixel sharpness, clear and well, so the rating is good. Pixels were and in comparison, I'd say pixels looked sharper than Canvas Pro 19, which has a slight softness that many people notice and some do not like. Okay, I check the comments. Okay, no new comments. Resolution. So I'll leave this. Let me put. I try not to mix specs with my feedback. So I'll put the specs here. Resolution. This was actually color gamut. So I think I'll call this like perception. How does it compare to a 4K at the same size? I would say, yeah, I would have a hard time telling it apart from a 4K display. Let me merge this change. Okay, I need to take a quick bio break. I'll be right back, okay? Okay, I see how we have a couple of comments. Let's take a look. Note that the colors being washed out or not doesn't necessarily indicate that the display is suited for graphic uses. Yeah, I just want to point out that the older ones are worse. Like, you clearly notice how washed out they are. Shoe. I've watched your review on the Intuos Pro. Glad you did. Tempted for its simpler design, but Deco Pro 2 seems to do a better job on the bezel. Yeah, the X3 pen is a good pen, but not great. And the units are inconsistent, right? But the bezel really is better on the. Give me a sec. I actually have it nearby. I'll get it. We'll take a look. Okay, I'm back, and I have several tablets with me. Okay, let me move this keyboard out of the way. Oops, I hit the mute button. I'm always doing that. Okay, mute is, I muted myself, so I couldn't hear anything. Or I muted the speakers. Okay, here is Intuos Pro 2017, okay? So I know it's black plastic, so it's hard to see bezels. The good news is I have an invention called tape, okay? So I'm going to put some tape on this thing, just to give you a sense of where the bezel is, okay? So the bezel is from this yellow all the way to the edge. And the bezel is starting from the yellow here all the way to the left, right? So think of how thick this tape is. This tape is probably, I don't know, an inch. So this is what, 2 inches, 2 inches. Sorry, I don't know, whatever centimeters and meters. Okay, you see how much space there really is now, right? Actually, you know what? It's even better. Let's just do this. Right? So you get a rough sense of how much what's going on here. No, sure, it's good. It's good. I do these streams so people can ask questions. Now take a look at the tape here. I can't even fit a full tape. Okay, that's how small the bezel is, okay? It's kind of off center, it's kind of tilted, but you see the difference, right? Okay. It's half the width, so it's like half an inch, so huge. This distance here compared to this, this distance here compared to this, huge difference, okay? Now, let's take a look at the Deco Pro Gen 2. Notice it's about as big as the new Intuos Pro, okay? Now, how big are the bezels? They're not as big as the Intuos Pro 2017, that's for sure. They're not as tiny as the Intuos Pro 2025, but they're like this. The full width of the tape. Something like this. Almost 2 widths of the tape. Almost 2 widths of, like a width and a half maybe here. And then a little bit more. So you see the difference in the widths of what we have going on here. Okay? Yeah, we needed a good tangent. That's right. So I think people will like either one of these, right? And this is again the, let me get the model name. It doesn't say the model name. I think this is the MW, okay? Yeah, I think so. We can double check. But the key point is the bezel's a bit wider. They're about twice as wide as this bezel, but they're not anywhere near the size of these bezels, you see? Another thing is, what's it feel like your hand when you're on the edge? With the 2017, there's a very slight bump at the edge, okay? And your hand will rest, if your hand gets there, which it often won't because the bezel's so wide, slight bump, feels okay. The 2025 version, that bump you'll feel a lot more, and it's a bigger bump. Physically, it's just a little bit bigger, but like it feels sharper. Some people find it this uncomfortable. And I would say, I'm trying to compare the bump. What's it feel like? It's hard to say, honestly. Most people think the 2025 has more than this. This seems... This is definitely less than this, the Deco Pro Gen 2, right? Now, if the X3, if they had the X3, if the X3 pen was better and more consistent, which is why I think we brought up the topic of a hypothetical X4 pen, then yeah, I wouldn't have any problems doing the, suggesting the Deco Pro Gen 2. No, not any problem at all. Hope that, Shu, I hope that answered, or at least gave you a little more information. If bezels are important to you, and then you might want to wait. And again, remember, the drawing performance is better on the Wacom, right? Better tilt compensation, better, less diagonal wobble. So there are other technical benefits of the Wacom. Either one, 2025 or 2017. Okay? So I hope that helped. Okay, let me get back to updating this stuff. Response time is 12 seconds, milliseconds. Yeah. Wacom can be pretty good, draining wallets. I always used to joke with friends that the company that did the best job of separating someone from their money was Apple. Like the second you walk into an Apple store, Everything is designed to get money away from you. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's more like they make it easy to buy stuff. They make it very easy to buy stuff. Let's see. Okay, got this. Weight. We get some weight answers here. Yeah. Device. Oh, I copied the wrong thing. X. Yeah. So this is among the heavier 16-inch pen displays. Slightly heavier than other pen displays at this size. I'm sure there are ones that are heavier, but it surprised me that it was heavy. It's not heavy, it's just heavier than some other ones, which may be a little bit of a surprise. Let's merge this change. Let's see, I got this. OSD. And I'll add photos to it later. Display OS. How do you get to it? It's the button above the power button on the right side of the tablet. Because there's no touch support, to use OSD must use a pen. I think it's a little bit of a weakness, honestly, but I guess you can use the driver too. The pen. I think the first time you open the OSD, right? And then, oh yeah, which brings me back to the touch. This tablet does not support touch. Support touch. PWM flicker test. Let's add this. Well, I think it's good that the pen works. My complaint is you have to use the pen. Like, there's no other buttons to control it, right? This is where touch really comes in handy, to be honest. It's very natural to control the OSD with touch when a tablet supports it. This was called PWM flicker test. PWM flicker. No PWM flicker detected at any brightness. Comparisons. Moving 13 has obvious PWM flicker. And then I will say, note, link to flicker testing methodology. Let's merge this in, get a new set of text. Okay, you know what? I am feeling actually kind of tired and sleepy. Okay, we got a question though. Sir, can you compare the iPad 13-inch to the Cintiq 16? You compare the other tablet to the 16 in your video. Okay, sure. Give me a second. Let me get the iPad 13-inch. While I go get it, can you tell me specific things you want me to look at? Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I have an iPad Air 13-inch. So this relatively recent iPad. And oops, this thing tried to connect to my what do you call it? My AirPods. So let me reconnect. I may have to turn off Bluetooth on. I think I will do that because this thing is going to fight me. Bluetooth off. There we go. And yep, we're back in business. So I think the things that come to mind are the iPad screen. It looks better. It can get a bit brighter. It has less anti-glare sparkle, which is good. There's less parallax. Lots of apps on the iPad have less pointer lag. So those are the things that come on the top of my mind. Since it's a 16 by 10, there's the multiple questions. Like or night. I don't know if I should get the Huion Canvas 16 Gen 3 or the Wacom Cintiq 2025. Right now, I'd say the Cintiq 16 2025. Yeah. The drawing performance is better. It's a better tablet. No, the Canvas 16 Gen 3 just has there's one or two ways in which it's not as good. Has a little more diagonal wobble at slow strokes. Some people will never even notice that ever. But yeah, I think the Wacom is a better tablet. Yeah. Okay. P-near. Since it's 16 by 10 display, can it be used to duplicate it? Yeah, of course. Yes, you can easily. You're gonna get black bars if you do that. Like, you'll get black bars, I think, at the top and bottom, but it'll work. It'll work. Right. And I've done that. Right. Just depends on where the black bars are. Just depends on which is being duplicated, and it depends on the aspect ratio of the other display. Right. But yeah, it'll work. I did that earlier too, so it's not like I'm guessing. It did work. Like or night, how much better would the Wacom be? You're talking about like lifetime? Yeah. Of all the drawing tablet brands, Wacom has the best reliability. I'm based on what I see, and so I think this will have a longer lifespan. Yeah. Now, does that mean every Wacom tablet will have a longer lifespan than every Huion tablet? No, but I think statistically, I'd feel safe in saying that they will have a longer lifetime. Yeah. There's lots of Wacom tablets people are still using after 10 years, after 15 years. A month or so ago, I used some tablets that were 20 years old. So lifespan is known with Wacom to be long. Known, right? So, yeah, I think that's an easy one for me. Okay, everyone, I am actually getting really tired right now because I've been up. It's now, 1 o'clock in the morning for me, so 2 hours I've been going at it. So I'm going to end the stream, but I do want to thank everyone for joining in and leaving comments. I'm going to get some sleep, and then I'm going to spend a good portion of tomorrow updating the documentation, and hopefully this week or next week I'll create a video talking about this model and the Cintiq 24, and I'll make one video covering both, but 2 docs, one for each. Okay. And yet, as boys say, Wacom has better customer support than. That's true. That is true. I think that's absolutely true. Right. Now, Huion actually have been getting better, but I think Wacom is still the leader. Okay. Okay, everyone, I'm going to get to bed. Thanks again for your time. I really appreciate it. I had a super fun stream as always, and I'm glad I got a chance to do this another late night stream so that people in other geographic locations can get some of their questions in. Okay? Everyone, thanks again. I'll see you all soon, and I'll be streaming soon.